Our smart management software is really focused on empowering teams to work better together. We're going to look to empower the operations manager, allow the ops team to be more effective, and provide the ownership team more insight to what's going on to make the correct decisions that they need to achieve their goals. As we look to build this software, we're really looking to build an intuitive user interface that's easy to use for a beginner, but also provides the functionality that an expert needs to be able to really drive the KPIs that they need to drive profitability. So to do this, we've basically integrated a lot of task tracking capabilities that allows us to prioritize our work within the software, but also makes it easy to provide an electronic association. So you know where things are without having to just search around all the time. As we do that, we're going to be integrating SOPs into our product. Instead of having the ability to keep all that tribal knowledge in just your operation manager's head, we're going to build that in part of the software such that it's a sustainable and transferable process, no matter who's on the job. As we do that and we build out that capability, we're really going to have the ability to take that and begin to create smart systems. Smart systems basically take that SOP and allows us to just do what the expert should be doing without them having to clickety-clack all the time. And so through our intelligent automations, we will drive that intelligent system. And as we get into these more complex things, you're only as good as the tools that you know how to use. And so we're integrating in the ability to train and build competency programs within the software that allows you to simulate and emulate things 5 years worth of situations within 5 to 10 minutes. And in that, we have our 10, 20, 30 goals. Our 10 goal is really about increasing revenue by 10%, with the goal of, in typical commercial real estate, driving profitability by 100% if we can achieve that. Moving from an 85% occupancy rate up to a 95% occupancy rate is really what that target's all about. Our 20% target is all about reducing repetitive tasks by the operations manager by 20%. We're looking to do that by leveraging our integrated SOPs and our intelligent automations to cut out the slack of what they're having to go in and manually produce on a day-to-day basis. For example, when somebody's moving out of a complex, generating that work order will automatically be done to them and assigned to the appropriate person. They won't even have to do that. So the goal would be your ops team knows to go do that without the operations manager even being involved, essentially improving both of their effectiveness. Our 30% target is really focused on reducing the project schedule and reducing the burden of your ownership teams. And what do I mean by that? If we look at the way that we're doing financial forecasting, we're going to do a lot of that hard work for you automatically such that you know what your future occupancy and revenues are based on your leasing schedules so that you don't have to do an in-depth analysis of that. Secondarily, as we start to roll out our second phase features, when you're stabilizing a project, we're going to look to dramatically reduce those project schedule timelines by having everything included within the system. As we're looking to develop this software, we're looking to provide an intuitive software that's easy for a beginner or an expert to use. The reason that we need to do that is as you're managing a complex, there's a lot of things. It's almost death by paper cuts, the amount of things that you need to coordinate and do on a day-to-day basis. And so as we've been doing this, we're looking at not just being able to track what's being done, but what's being done and when it's going to be done and in what priority it needs to be done. Because ultimately, it's rearranging deck chairs every time something changes, every time a fire comes up. We don't know what's going on. If we look at a property manager's out for a day, all of a sudden everything stops because nobody knows what to do. We need to have all that work prioritized, not only for the operations manager, but also for our off-site teams. You're not able to see what's going on if the property manager goes and has a whiteboard with what's being done today, opposed to tracking everything in the software. So in order to make it intuitive and make it easy for a beginner or an expert, we've actually had to expand it and provide more capabilities. We've had to include everything within the software that we need to do to drive operations. So it's not tracking just what we're doing, but how and when we're doing it. That's the important part. As we start to look at an operations manager, we think of tribal knowledge, and basically everything is in their head. If they were to not be here tomorrow, a lot of times you wouldn't know what to do. So once again, making this intuitive, but also the ability to effectively drive, we're integrating the ability to drive SOPs, just standard templates that get called time and time again. We're not just talking about attaching a document to say what you're going to do, but driving actionable things that just automatically show up as part of your normal workflows. And it tells you what you're expected to do time and time again. I don't want to repeat this. I do it once and it's always there. The next step in this is once we have work prioritized, we know what's going on in leasing, we have our SOPs integrated, is the ability to make this system smart. In order to buy back and empower that operations manager, we need to buy back their time. So I need the system to just do what it's supposed to do without them needing to clickety-clack it and go into this data lake to figure out what's going on. So we've gone ahead and built intelligent automations, and basically it does what your operations manager would expect it to do. When somebody's scheduled for a move out, you schedule that inspection and it goes right to your ops team and it gets prioritized so you know how to prioritize that work within everything else they're doing. When somebody actually moves out and you need to do a unit turn, that work order is automatically created. We're looking to drive effectiveness between the teams. We're also trying to drive everybody to easily work within the system such that when something is done, your ops team, it's easy for them to go in there and just check it off that it was done and describe how it was done, provide photos so the property manager can go back and just look at that same electronic work order to say, oh, this was done, I signed off on it, and it falls off the list and we know that it was done.